gotta do the intro.
Welcome to not another fucking Islanders podcast. Tonight,
It's
as
another,
usual,
not another.
I am Eric Vogel, the realist, with John Dombrowski, the optimist,
Optimist.
Mike at Dino Dangle, the pessimist, and Brandon Gaines, the human Wikipedia. Tonight, we are going to be playing a game that I am stealing from the Ringer podcast, the NBA podcast. Shout out to Kevin O'Connor and Chris Vernon. They call it true, maybe true, absolutely not true. We will call it yes, no, maybe. And the way it works is this. One of you is going to get a question and or a statement that can be answered with yes, no, or maybe. You will answer yes, no, maybe, and then show your work. And then depending on your answer, the other people will get a short amount of time to make fun of you or agree with you.
All right.
Everybody got it?
Wait, show your work. So you mean I have to write this stuff down like a math problem? Like what the hell's going on?
You just have to explain yourself.
Yes, you need to quantify whether or not they're a good team or not.
All right. So this first is going to go to John.
Okay.
And the question is, Alex Romanov,
Okay.
worth a first round pick?
Maybe. I think it really remains to be seen. Right now, he's not. He hasn't really played up to it yet, but I think that he's going to get there in time. He's playing on a new team. He needs to learn the system a little better. He looks really green, but you can also see the promise there. He's a really big physical dude. He lays the body well. He's always in good position to block shots. He's giving up way too many pucks, so that's a big issue for him right now. But I think he also is a good offensive spark, which paired with Dobson could be a very high-risk, high-reward second line that hopefully develops into being a much more cohesive unit as the season goes along.
Very well put. Any disagreement, Brandon, Michael?
It's a maybe based off of not just in terms of Romanov, but in terms of the type of player Isaiah George ends up becoming, because that's what also was acquired with that trade. So, he had some.
Shoulders.
I mean, he's a decent skater. It's a shame he got hurt during training camp, but I look at the entire tree. When it comes to a trade like that. It's not just Romanov that we got.
Do we know anything about Isaiah George right now, though?
He apparently has played a couple games for the one of the nights so far.
Yeah. He started off in the third pair because he got injured again, as far as I know. So they had him on the third pair, kind of just to get him back in. He should be playing top pair minutes though at some point.
I think what I'm saying though is the sample
He's
size
playing
is
for the
too small
Knights.
to make a determination.
Say that again, John.
I said I think what I'm saying though is that the sample size is too small to really make any kind of determination yet.
I agree. I think that maybe is definitely the safe answer and probably the right answer. But obviously, so far, I think we'd all agree that the answer right now is no.
But yeah, the answer immediately 6 games in is no. But I feel like it's unfair to really try to answer that question in such a short period of time.
I mean, when it's your only offseason move, I feel like you it kind of has to be. There's nothing else to focus on.
Oh no, you're totally right. But I wouldn't really grade any offseason moves less than 20, 25, 30 games in.
That's a generous sample. All right, Brandon, you're up next. Yes, no, maybe. Is Lane Lambert a good coach?
So far, he's not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, he's terrible. There's no. I understand Barry Trotz brings a much bigger defensive, formula when it comes to coaching compared to what we've seen from Lambert so far. But it just screams like a vanilla Trotz, in my opinion. You scratch Bailey, yippee! But then you put Bailey on the first line with Barzell. You bench Sallow in favor of Aho. The team half the time is just not prepared to play. They're not prepared to start. Last night was a huge example. You're playing against a Rangers team on their third game in 4 nights, and they got outclassed in the first 2 periods. It's maxed by the fact that Sorokin literally bailed them out. Literally, they didn't get a single freaking high danger chance in the first period, 5-on-5. Not a single one. And I know Kyle Palmieri scored. That's a bad goal Halak gave up. And
First
Bailey's
game,
and Bailey scored, and the goal that Bailey scored was almost a miscue on Bailey's part when you rewatch the clip. So I'm highly disappointed so far from what I've seen. To me, though, I mean, we'll probably get into this later, and I've said this ad nauseum on Twitter, half joking, half serious. It kind of fits into where we may end up heading towards as the season goes on. But yeah,
I
no.
agree 100%. The motivational aspect of it, like the fact that the team just doesn't seem ready to play. Like we're not getting the spark that you'd expect from a coaching change like that, where they're saying, where the marquee of the changes, these guys need a new voice. Following last season and changing out one of, if not the best available coach on the free market. Not inspiring. I think the answer is ultimately going to be no as well. Of course, if Romanov is early to call, this does seem early to call. But again, it's like the reverse of Romanov. Romanov's coming into the system. He's young. He's green, like you said, John. So he gets the credit. But Lambert, this is the guy that we were supposed to be switching to because everybody else wanted him, because he was the hot ticket item, to be a head coach. And they do not seem to be playing inspired hockey to me. Where are you at, Mike?
I have one thing first. John, can you switch to landscape? It's been bothering me every podcast.
Oh, my bad. I didn't realize that was okay.
You know what? I can accept that. That's better. There's still black bars, but at least it looks closer to, I don't know. For some reason, like, it always bothered me. I don't know. Oh, well.
When Mike watches this on his big widescreen TV,
you know what's funny? I listen to the podcast. Like, I don't even watch it because I listen to it when I'm driving. Sometimes I'll listen back parts here and there. So I don't know.
I will be honest. Once it's out, I kind of it's out. I don't watch it. I don't listen to it. Like, I know what I said. It's kind of just done.
That's fine. The cool thing is you can always go back and be like, why did I say that? You know what I mean? Or like, how did I have? That's what's fun about it,
That's true.
It's also fun to document this stuff just in case something happens and we were dead right. So same. But I mean, it's tough for me to talk about Romanov after they both just did, because I thought they both did a good job. I mean, yeah. I think I lean more towards John's side though, right, just because it's so early though.
That's good, because you're gonna like this next question.
Okay.
So for you, we have, the original question was, will Kiefer Bellows be picked up off waivers? So now the question is, obviously, since that's yes,
maybe,
will the Islanders miss Kiefer Bellows?
So that's to me, I guess.
That's to you, yeah.
You can either I'll say this. You can either do, will the Islanders miss Kiefer Bellows, or will they regret putting Kiefer Bellows on waivers?
Well, let me just start off by saying I actually didn't think he was going to be claimed. And I'm someone who's actually high on him. I thought teams had enough players in their systems where they weren't going to reach out to someone like him, because he's kind of been a tweener. But I think Philly saw what I did last season, where the kid can just randomly start scoring. And I don't think you can have, I don't know what the right word is. You can never have enough scorers, in my opinion. I don't know. I feel like a lot of teams that do really well, they just have too many playmakers. They don't have someone who's just going to put the puck in the net here and there.
He's a first-round dart. He's a former first-round pick dart, and he's not so young. You say, he's not going to be anything.
Before I answer the question too, let me just finish it with, A lot of people like toss analytics in my face to like make fun of me or whatever because like they don't understand them anyway to begin with. But like they'll no, I'm just saying. I mean, they're like, oh look, the card's bad, but like his war is his war in hockey is never going to be good when like he's defensively problematic. He doesn't generate offense. He's
the problem with you, like the main problem, and this is what we get into arguments over, I think, is the card is right when you want it to be, and the card is wrong when you don't want it to be.
Not necessarily. I think the problem is you have to point out certain things about it and talk about it, like the fact that
but if you agree with it, if you agree with it, you're not going to point it out, and if you disagree with it, you're going to point it out because that's what your opinions are. Everyone
the card is not an absolute truth, though. The card is still contextual, and
the card is contextual. But everyone
from.
reading it gets a confirmation bias based on whatever opinion.
I get where Mike's coming from because Bellows' card is still an extremely small sample size. He's had no.
Well, I agree. In his case, I agree.
Which ties into why they couldn't get anything back for Bellows in a trade because they didn't give him a proper sample size. That's the problem. My issue with the cards that you see posted on WAR, I'm personally not a fan of wins above replacement in hockey. I think the game is way too fluid for it to be way too fluid for it to be actually recorded.
Sure.
The offseason we signed Chara, he had a 62% wins above replacement. That's BS. Absolute BS for him to have.
I understand, but it's important to look at the like certain things on the card. Like for instance, when you look at goals above replacement and assists above replacement for Bellows, he's basically getting points higher than 50% of players in the league for like his rate, I should say. His rate of scoring is higher than 50% of players in the league. That's worth a shot. I mean, that's worth looking at in my opinion.
For me,
is also heavily adjusted by a really small sample size as well.
For me,
100%. But how is that his fault? You know what I mean? Like,
it's not his fault. And
it both ways.
If you are waving Bellows, that means you do not see a spot for him on this team. And if you don't see a spot for this team, then who do you have as a youngster playing in the mid to top six going forward? Because it's sure as hell they cannot keep rolling Lee out there. And I don't think they're probably going to be doing that. And if it's not Bellows, and if it's not Lee, and it's definitely not going to be DeFore anytime soon. I'll give him about 2 years for that. I think we're heading towards dark times.
I think next year it's probably going to be either Ratty or they'll find somebody in free agency to fill that hole.
They're not putting Ratu on the wing. Absolutely not.
I'm just trying to sum up my answer real quick, and then I'll pass it to you guys. I just want to say at least, are the Islanders going to regret losing Bellows? I don't think so, but at the same time, it wouldn't have been bad to keep him over like Ross and Soshnikov because we already know that he has produced when he's out there. And one of the biggest things that I think the team is lacking right now is depth scoring on offense. I mean, you're not even getting it from the top guys, but like depth-wise, I mean, it's been barren. And it's funny because you're going to be like, Palmieri scored those 2 goals last night. But outside of Wahlstrom, no one in the bottom 6 has really been scoring at all. I mean,
I do not.
For my argument, I would say that the depth scoring has been the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about forwards. I don't care about defense. I'm talking about forwards.
But it doesn't matter where the goals come from if they're coming.
Yeah,
it does. And Salo and Mayfield, they're not going to score 4 goals for the rest of the year. I mean, come on, like.
and you benched one of the defensemen who already has 2 goals.
Yeah. I mean, I
agree. I think that was a mistake.
No, yeah, John, I meant like you're not going to see games again where they score 4 goals from Salo and Mayfield. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen.
I don't think you're going to see games where they score 4 goals from Salo or Mayfield, but I think that the defense as a whole is probably going to get a big jump from last season because that's the kind of system they're running. They want the defensemen to be more in the rush and on the like. They want to give them more chances to score.
I'm going to end with this, and it's going to piss a lot of people off. It's going to piss you off. It might even piss Brandon and Eric off. But I think so far to start the season, that disaster we saw out of Chara is very reminiscent of what I'm seeing from Romanov and the defense as a whole. They've been giving up chances in bunches. And I mean, like, they're not getting walked around like Chara, but they're giving up as many, if not more, chances as Chara did. So to me, everyone's like, "Oh, he's not Chara," and it's like, sure, not 1-to-1, but he's certainly giving up as many chances as he did, and a lot of them are high danger chances too. Yeah, people are gloating that
Your goalie.
People are gloating that he had 9 blocks in the first game, and I'm like, that's a good thing. That means he was getting shelled out there.
That means he doesn't have the puck enough. That's the problem.
No, it's like when people are like, "Oh, Matt Martin has 5,000 hits." You know why he has 5,000 hits? He never has the fucking puck. All right, next, move on.
I said the same thing regarding overrating physicality. Mayfield plays a physical game.
Same thing with block shots. Andrew
McDonald.
You don't want to have too many block shots.
Andrew McDonald was the king of block shots for the Islanders.
Yeah, and he sucked. Okay, next.
Okay, and Travis Hamonic, huge physical
also sucked, but whatever.
Yeah, also sucked. Ironic.
Actually, at one point with the Islanders.
He was at one point a lot of the time.
The irony is, the irony is though, is that we got Dobson from the Hamonic trade, which is ironic.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Better than a block shot, but not a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, but also, I think this needs context. If you're playing the same system all the time, and you're giving up all these chances, that is one thing. If you're learning an entirely new system that's way more offensive centric, go into it knowing that this is going to be a byproduct of it before you learn how to dial everything back and make it more defensive.
So if you're learning a new offensive system, then why the hell are you scratching Bellows?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you exactly.
You can circle back to Bellows. You can, because he should have been given a sample size to actually show if he could fit. It doesn't make sense to me. And people have agreed with me.
Given a sample size too, but I don't think this is the hill to die on. He's a nothing player. He doesn't.
I'm just saying.
It ties into bad
happens?
asset management, though. That's the problem.
What happens when two players get hurt, John? Who goes in?
But we're treating a 2% change like it's a 50% change.
Okay, when 2 players get hurt, who fills in? It probably will happen on offense. We have an older team. Well, they're not as old anymore, but the forwards are.
When 2 players get hurt, who fills in? If it's the fourth line player getting hurt, I don't give a fuck. Anyone.
I don't agree with that. See, the Island of all the teams in the league, John, I think the Islanders are one of the largest that have to roll 4 lines of scoring, because you're not going to get a hat trick from Matthew Barzal.
When was the fourth line ever going to score?
Cizikas had 20 goals a bunch of years ago. I don't know if you remember that, but
a bunch of years ago. The fourth line has not scored for about 4 years now. I
watched the Avalanche win the cup off the back of Newhook scoring 11 goals during the season and being really good in the playoffs. So he didn't have the same amount of points.
Not the Avalanche.
I know, but it's funny because the Avalanche are a team that needs that less because they can throw their top line out in their top pair and dominate. The Islanders can't do that. They can't. They have Barzal and Pelech and Pulak. That's
that's also why theoretically, if you're not going to get the offensive production, you need to be good on defense. That's the big problem right now.
We're back to John.
Go ahead. I love this conversation.
Yes, maybe. Josh Bailey is cooked.
Unfortunately, it's a yeah.
Yeah.
100%. He's been cooked. He had the nice goal last game, but I haven't seen a good game where he was productive all season. He's cooked. He should be replaced by now.
That's like when Lee scores a deflection and you're like, oh, that was a nice goal. Yeah. I guess. I mean,
good for him. I'm happy for him. He had a good game. He probably had his best game of the season on that line.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it was probably not the worst idea to pair him with Barzal. Because at least you're getting something out of him.
Which is, I mean, yesterday being Josh Bailey's best game is like the textbook definition of damning with fake praise. I mean, come on.
No, I agree. But if you're going to keep him in the lineup, you might as well put him somewhere where he's productive if no one else is doing anything with Barzal.
So you're putting so you're putting a slow pass first person with a fast pass first person.
I know.
There's no logic in that.
If Paul Mary starts scoring again, though, I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
there's no logic to it, but if it works, it works. I mean, I would want Paul Mary to be with him, but he hasn't been scoring with him, so it's not working. You got to try something else. Fucking put Wallstrom with him. That's fine. But
He
like,
is. He is with them. He is with them. It should be Beauvillier with Barzell, not
wait,
Bailey.
Eric, are you going to bring out our AHL top scorer tonight at some point? I hope you do, because we need to talk about him.
There is not a question on there. But if you want to tackle me again, I will
this
answer
is
one.
what goes back to the whole is Liam Lambert a good coach thing, and why I think it's probably a maybe at this point in time, because he's actually doing things. He's throwing.
It's too early to throw the hat in on that or the Romanov trade. It's like 7 games.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give it years. I think for Lambert, you got to give him at least 30, 40 games. I mean, we don't know.
Any coach that implements a new system
Is
deserves
going to have struggles usually.
Yeah, it's going to have struggles in the beginning. They deserve a time period to learn and adjust to see how it actually works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But, he's trying things.
I would normally agree with you, but this is not a coach that's new to this team. It's new to being the head coach.
But it's a coach that's new to
You would
being.
expect a little bit.
Just
Let me finish. I personally would expect a little bit less of a learning curve, and frankly, I feel like the reason that nobody lost their minds over losing Barry Trotz was because they expected that. But at the same time, teams 3 and 4, they had a tough schedule, yes, but
they haven't looked good. Yeah, no.
All right, Brandon. No, maybe. Anders Lee is partially to blame for the poor chemistry of this team.
Oh, whose phone was that? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because considering the short and long-term needs, I know he scored a couple power play goals on Sunday, but he's also taken a mountain. He's taken a mountain of penalties so far. So his play has overall been a net negative. And he's not getting any younger. He can't really skate that well anymore. He can't really play defensive hockey. He's carrying a $7 million cap hit. He still has a no trade clause for this year and next year. Considering that this team needs to transition to younger people, and that's probably what they're going to be trying to do. Hence why they waived Bells, and there's probably going to be a few more people gone. Probably. Lee kind of hurts that objective. He hurts the top 6 chemistry as well. 5-on-5, mind you. I'm not talking about the power play.
No.
Yeah, I'm talking 5-on-5. He was supposed to fit well with Nelson. He ain't fitting well with Nelson, who by the way has goose eggs in the goal department right now as well. Like he can't fit with Barzell.
His play has been close to a goose egg too. He's been horrible 5v5, both of them. Which begs the question: is that more to do with Nelson, or more to do with Lee not necessarily being able to keep up with him to open up Nelson's game? It looks so when you rewatch the games, because I do, it looks to be the latter. It's kind of like a defensive pair where you're saying like, oh, this person stinks, but okay, how's the partner doing? Is the partner following their assignments properly? There's been times where Lee has blown his assignment and not very good.
He's not very good at skating.
I mean, how's that a defense? That's not acceptable either.
Other than being a net front presence and shooting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know who also can't skate, but who also was able to play semi-decent with Barzell? Kiefer Bellows.
Yeah.
What? Like seriously? And he's what? He's making $1.2 million. Lee's making $7 million. Like, come on.
Yeah, but Lee also scores 30+ goals.
Yeah, because Lee gets to play consistent top 6 minutes. Bellows doesn't.
Bellows would not be. But if you think that,
how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that though? How do you know that?
Because he had a sample size of about almost 30 games last year, and he had 6 goals.
30 games all over the freaking place, whether it was on the third line, on the top line too soon. Okay, but you have to put players in proper positions to grow and succeed.
You
That's
make
like,
this argument as if they're going to do it, though.
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
a problem.
that's
Shouldn't be here.
John. That's why it was so weird that we had Leo Komarov there for like a full season. It's like they
It's
couldn't have
it,
tried Bellows there for a full season.
it,
What would be? What would it? I
it's
don't
it,
know.
it, it, it's like when Robin Sala was paired with Mayfield on the top pair when we had those 4 COVID outbreak games, and then Barry Trotz used that pairing as an evaluation method to literally bench Salo following the initial postponement. You
Yeah,
actually
Fair
you
idea.
evaluated Salo when he was put in an unfair situation, and that's
That's
exactly what.
That's
What?
speculative. I said that's speculative.
No, but it's a fact though.
A
He
lot of
got
what we say
benched.
is speculative.
No.
He got sent down to the AHL.
No,
Did he-
Sal was still on the team though. When
The whole
when
season.
when Zizekas ended up testing positive for COVID,
Right.
following the 4-game stint with Sal and Mayfield on the top pair, when
Right.
players came back following the postponement, Sal was on the bench in favor of Aho and Green and Chara.
Right. Which I think they probably use that to determine that he's just not quite ready to play at the NHL level yet.
By evaluating him on a top pair situation when that's not his game.
Plus, the idea that I think it was pretty clear at that point that they weren't going to be winning anything last season.
So if you know you're not going to win, quote unquote, and I agree with that part. If you know you're not going to win, why are you giving Aho, a person with a lower ceiling than Salo, NHL reps over Salo?
Yeah, I don't know. That remains a mystery to me.
Because
like,
Can I
the fact that he's in games this season is just beyond me.
Can I just chime in real quick here?
it's like
Yeah.
the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Did you guys see, just because we were just talking about it before, I missed my opportunity to bring this up, but did you guys see what Stefan said about Bellows, since I follow him so closely and he's always running into the players?
Oh, that he
They-
thought
they
he
know what you're talking about.
What, that he was frustrated and he said that he thought he was going to be a good hockey player. He just needed more of a chance.
no about him getting.
No, the full quote was he bumped into him in the, I don't know if it was the lobby or the hall, I think it was the hallway. And
Yeah.
Bellows told him, he's like, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this team. Like, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? And then literally, what was it, like 24 hours later, he gets waived. I don't understand how, like, there's like did Lou bring him in last second and was like, yeah, we're waiving you? Like, I don't know.
You think
That,
maybe
to my knowledge, that usually is how it works with most players. Yeah. Like,
I
as
don't
they're
know.
waiving you, they bring you in and give you a conversation and go, hey, just letting you know, we're going to waive you. If we can keep you, here's the plan going forward. But yeah, like, it's not like they tell them, hey, tomorrow we're going to waive you.
What's interesting to me, though, is I heard from him, which is speculation, but you got to understand, he's around everyone all the time. He heard that they were working on a trade to move Bellows, which would have made sense, in my opinion, because if they don't think they don't think he has a chance here, maybe you get something for him, even if it's just like, another player that we don't care about.
Sure, I agree.
But like, for him to say that to Stefan, maybe maybe he thought something else was going on. It seems like there was miscommunication until the last second for me. I don't know. If you're working on a trade with a player, he's not going to tell Stefan, hey, I'm really trying to make this team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Hey, Lane, what do you think of Kiefer Bellows? Are you gonna? Do you feel like?
Oh, did you see what he said?
Do you think that he should be on this team going forward? Do you think he should be getting NHL reps in more of a fashion compared to other these players? And if Lambert says I'm comfortable with what I have, I mean, what is Lou supposed to do at that point? Now you can make a case. You can make a case that's Lou's fault for picking the wrong coach to not play him properly. And no, I did not hear what he said. No.
Did we have to make a roster? Did we have to make a? Did they have to make a roster?
I think so.
To bring
Salo back.
Oh.
But here's the thing. Lane was, and I know John's going to say coaches lie, GMs lie. I know that's kind of like the vibe when they talk to them. But someone asked Lane about waiving Bellows, and he said, you're going to have to talk to Lou about that, as if he had no decision on that, which is interesting to me. I don't know why he would say that. Why
Well,
wouldn't you just say it was a
I mean,
team
it's a player
decision?
movement. It's a player movement thing. It's a GM decision.
Yeah,
But you can tell me he had no say on it? Like,
I think what he's trying to say there is that he's not involved in that decision and he can't speak for somebody else.
really?
Which he might not be involved in that decision.
Which
That's
is weird.
really strange if that's the case. Because I would, if I'm the GM, I want to go to my coach and make sure I'm waiving the right player.
If
I-
I'm the
I don't-
GM, I agree, but I'm also not Lou Lamoriello.
I don't know. This whole thing is always so confusing to me because they don't just talk normally. Like they talk around the subject, which is
Well,
weird because
That's the
there's no
problem.
harm in being there's no harm in Lane just being honest. I mean, what is it? What would it change? Hey, he didn't fit in with what I'm trying to do. That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say.
I
All
don't think
right.
you want
Last
to. I don't think as a coach you want to do that because if it comes out that he does not get picked up by anyone and he clears, and you as the coach say, I don't see a role for him here. He doesn't really fit our system. That becomes a much bigger issue going forward.
You could reword it, but let's move
There's
on.
no
You can
way to
reword
word
that.
and make it sound good.
Yes, you can. You could say, I'm happy with what I have, like he said. Okay, go next.
All right.
But that
last question
also
I have.
means that you're unhappy with Kiefer Bellows, which if he comes back,
I don't know.
becomes
Ask Lou. Don't blame me. Whatever. Next.
yeah.
All right. Last
That
question is for Mike.
That way he can look at Kiefer Bellows if he doesn't get in and go, hey, it wasn't me. I'm sorry.
This is a very heated day, Eric. Very heated day. Go.
Yeah. Last questions for Mike. This Islanders team is better than their record. Yes, no, maybe. Brandon's answer is
No, this
Snickers.
question is actually extremely difficult because the first 3 games of the season they looked better than last year by a
better
stretch.
with worse results, and the last couple games have been better results, but not looked as good.
No, they went on like a 4-game losing streak, didn't they? Or 3-game losing streak?
They went on a 3-game losing streak and then they won the
Yeah.
4th.
And then they won.
No. So the results have been worse, but the last 4 games is indicative of a team to me that's aging and badly on forward, at least, especially because not only the defense has been poor, yes, but you can also see the forwards not being able to keep up. I mean, they're just getting skated circles around, and when you can't get back on forward, it's a 3-on-2 every time, So I don't know. That's I think guys like Nelson and Lee, they're starting to show a little bit of age. I'm not saying they go from great to bad, but they don't have the same step they had last year. I mean, it's continuing to decline like it normally does for most players who aren't superstars or elite talents or first line players.
Not every forward ages well like Brad Marchand.
No, mostly
especially
the ones
tonight, especially tonight, mind you.
Yeah,
2 goals coming back.
But the first 3 games, Eric, they were the better team easily, and they outplayed their opponents well. They had the puck more, they shot more, they controlled the tempo of play more.
They suck.
But San Jose beat the Rangers, and I mean Anaheim beat someone.
I mean, hot take. The Rangers aren't. I'm still going to be.
They had 3 and 4 nights. Doesn't mean anything to me.
But they're not a good. They weren't a good 5-on-5 team last year. That was maxed by the fact that Shesterkin had a .938 save percentage until mid-February.
Yep.
He ain't going to do that again.
Well, Kreider also had a ridiculous shooting percentage last year and has 0 goals this year.
Yeah, how's that going? People just overrate certain aspects of the team. I go, just look at the abnormals. Look at the abnormal statistics. Do you think that's happening again? Did you think Nelson was going to shoot 21% again? No.
You'll be right back.
Expecting to shoot 0. Mike, do you want to do the AHL?
Mike.
He mutes himself.
I heard you. I said I'd be right back. No, have you guys seen what Ishikov's doing? I'll be right back. You guys can talk about it.
I have seen that Ishikov is
lighting it up.
I think he might be brought up if he continues this.
I can see it.
He's also part of the Travis Hamonic trade tree. Fun fact.
So this was going to be one of my questions. I think it's probably a pretty unanimous yes, and I'll answer it yes. Is this Lou's final season as GM?
Yep.
Probably, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
How many which is why I don't think we're going to see any of those guys this season.
No, I think we
I
will.
think the directive is going to be you do as much as you can with those guys, and I'm not touching any of the assets in the minors.
Unless he finds a good suitor to
I
trade for some
Don't
best
really
players.
think that that's the directive, just because if that was the directive, why waive Bellows?
He didn't draft Bellows. He doesn't care about him.
But you're saying directive. I'm not saying care or not.
I mean, lose.
Something.
I mean, Countenance still works for this Countenance is still one of Lou's scouts. So he still waived him regardless. I don't think that really has indication on whether or not players get called up.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, look, the fact is, that's just how I see this season playing out. I don't think we're going to see any amazing call-ups no. I think he is just going to let the next generation develop in the AHL and give Chris Lamoriello a clean slate next season. No.
Yeah.
Do you
Not
think
gonna be that
that they
random.
allow?
Gotta
Do you
be
think they
different.
allow Lou to pick Chris?
I don't think Lou will pick Chris. I think the owners will.
I know. I think one of the conditions of Lou coming here was probably, hey, I will work here for 5 years and then my son will take over.
See, I don't really see that. I think it's possible that it could be Chris, but I think if
you think
the
that
owners,
Lou Lamoriello just randomly came to the island for how much money are they paying him? Whatever. For probably not that much money. Like, no, I think there were probably some incentive packages. That's all of Lou's deals. Like,
well, I think they're paying him handsomely compared to what he was probably getting in Toronto.
that's kind of why I saw him coming here.
Yeah, I mean, money talks.
Yeah.
You think Barry Trotz would have came to the Islanders if Ted Leonis actually gave him $5 million per year? No.
They already confirmed that Barry was angry about not making what he was worth.
Yeah,
That was the main reason he left.
I mean, when it comes to hiring, no, I'm saying Ted Leonis. He's the owner of the Washington Capitals. So, when after the Capitals
After they won the cup, he didn't get what he was worth.
yeah, he was only guaranteed to get $1.4 million per year.
And he was only given a 1-year salary.
Let me quickly bring this back, though, before you guys completely run over the fact that we may not call anyone up. So Ishikov is leading Bridgeport in points. Not only is he leading them in points, though, he is an incredibly fast skater. I mean, he's probably the fastest skater on that team. Now, what's interesting about that?
I swear to God, I saw a comment on him that he's small but not fast. And that was the weird thing about it.
No, and I understand that, but I think his skating has actually somewhat improved. He looks really, really smooth out there. Now it is against AHL talent, but I think if you're leading the AHL in points, that's your team in points. That's a good way to get called up.
He's a better skater than Koivula.
And what did the Islanders lack so severely?
Is it
speed and skill.
Look fast next to Koivula, or is it like when a corgi runs around and it looks like they're fast because their legs are moving so fast and they're so
listen, I don't think
I have AHL TV on my phone. He's a much better skater than Koivula. It's not even close.
Here's the thing.
I think this podcast might be better skaters than Koivula.
Yeah, he's terrible. But let me just bring it back that honestly, I mentioned his name before we started, if you remember, and I don't think anyone expected him to lead that team in points. He's on their first line. They clearly think very highly of him. I think with waiving Bellows, I mean, maybe they see a spot for another forward on the team.
What wing?
It would make sense.
It would make sense if you moved other players already on your team, though.
Yeah.
And it would also make sense if this team did things that you guys thought they should do.
For me,
Very dumb.
I would just let them cook down there. I would let Ratu cook in Bridgeport. I would let Dufour cook down there.
Well, yeah, I don't see a scenario where they're brought up from
maybe give Holmstrom a bottom six look in the NHL, but that's pretty much it. I mean,
I don't want to upset Brandon either, but I heard we're still linked to Chikrin somehow.
no,
Not sure how,
no,
but
no.
if they do it though, Salo's spot is gone.
That was the James-
He's out. He's out week to week still.
Yeah. That was a James Nichols tweet, by the way. And
No, I saw it from someone else too.
I drafted a retweet of that tweet saying that in the infinite number of universes and the infinite number of dimensions, there is a universe where Jacob Chikrin is actually on the Islanders, so it makes those tweets more palatable. But considering that nothing that's been reported has ever really happened since Luke got here,
I don't
Sure.
think.
probably not.
I'm just
I-
telling you.
I don't think it makes long-term sense to go for Chikrin.
I don't think so either, but I just heard they're in on it, not just by Nichols. So just
It would only make sense if you.
it wouldn't
could get
surprise me.
if you could get rid of all the slow parts in your forward core.
Which is
be able to do because one of them's the captain and the other is the longest tenured Islander on the roster.
I mean, I don't know what episode where we're going to talk about the future of the team, but with the makeup of the AHL team right now, things get very interesting because if they want to start injecting youth, one center has to go. And in my opinion, the easiest answer for me is Brock Nelson. I mean, it's crazy to some people, but he probably has the highest value out of all three of them that are not Barzell.
He has the highest value, but would you get rid of your top goal scorer on a team that desperately needs offense?
If
I
you're not
think
if you're not in position to contend, what's the point in keeping him?
Yeah. I
No,
think
that's it. If you're actually tanking, he's the guy to trade. Most definitely.
I think so. I think so. And
Not just him. Not just him, though.
I know.
All right,
You know, listen.
we're outside of yes, no, maybe. So I'm gonna stop recording.
Oh, sorry.
But we can, no.